What is the most embarrassing thing a family member has ever done? Story 1. I like cucumbers. I put them in sandwiches and salads and use them instead of chips with dip. My husband hates them, so I keep them out of his food. One day, while shopping in the produce section, he pulls a cucumber out of the shopping cart and demands loudly, "What do you do with these? You buy them all the time, but we never eat them." The looks we got were priceless. We are in our 60s. Opinion. I can imagine how random it would have been when he yelled out loudly, not realizing the double meaning in his statement. Story 2. Not the most embarrassing, but the most recent. My family went to Benihana for dinner, a Japanese hibachi place. The waiter asked us if we had any allergies, and my dad blurted out, "I'm allergic to cats," because he is. But the waiter just kind of looked at him and with a flat expression said, "We don't serve cats here." Opinion. Oh man, the allusion to Oriental food and cats. Story 3. My uncle liked to do comedy roasts at family events that were always in terrible taste and very crude, but usually only aimed at family members, so he got away with it. Then, at my aunt's 25th anniversary party, he did a roast that included a lot of jokes about a recent news story. A teenager threw a frozen turkey out a window and it caused a car crash that severely mutilated someone. The thing is, he did that roast right in front of the parents of the teenager who did it, because the parents were friends of my aunt. He's not allowed to do comedy monologues at parties anymore. Edit. My family does not normally have microphones at parties, just at big deal ones like a major anniversary party or a wedding. Most of my uncle's monologues did not involve microphones, just rambling at us in someone's living room over Christmas or something. Him performing in front of a big deal party in front of people outside the family with, yes, a microphone, was part of why this one specific occasion was so upsetting to my aunts and uncles. Opinion. Their kid is a clown and actions have consequences. They shouldn't get angry about it when other people make fun of it. Story 4. My cousin, who was probably about 22 at the time, got so drunk at another one of our cousin's weddings that he got into an argument with the bartenders working the reception because they cut him off, then stormed off, but it was more of a drunk stumble, and he fell right into not only the table holding the wedding cake, but smack dab into the cake itself, destroying most of it. Then after being helped to the bathroom to clean himself up, he soiled his pants and then passed out while hiding out in a stall because he was too embarrassed to let anyone know he soiled himself. He was found near the end of the reception and passed out on the toilet, holding wads of dirty toilet paper because it looked like he was attempting to clean himself up, but then gave up and passed out. Opinion. Sounds like something right out of a movie. It's crazy that this actually happened in real life. Story 5. Drunk dialed 911 twice because she was constipated. She passed out on the couch before EMTs arrived. Complained about how long it took the ambulance to arrive. Complained about the lights and siren. Refused to go with the EMTs. Refused to sign the waiver. Refused any home treatment, laxative, OTC pain meds, water, etc. And called EMTs back 4 hours later to report the exact same problem. 2 hours after that, she left the hospital with a hefty bill and a prescription for Miralax. Opinion. What a waste of time and money. Story 6. At a very crowded beach, my obese aunt tried to save a pigeon. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it. It flew away when she bent down to grab it, and she rolled down a hill and landed in a fire ant's pile. She flopped around like a beached whale, trying to get up while slapping the ants biting her and screaming the whole time. Opinion. Unlucky. Story 7. My dad, unalived of congestive heart failure. But before he was gone, he went through a period of sometimes doing strange things because of lack of oxygen to his brain. One day, my younger brother, who was in high school at the time and had some behavior issues, got suspended and sent home from school. My dad went to pick him up in his car, without any clothes on, without giving no second thought to it. Opinion. Well, at least he gave you an effing hilarious story before going. Rest in peace. Story 8. We took our grandma to a high-class restaurant for a steak dinner on Christmas Eve because she's never experienced anything like it. Grew up very poor. When she got her steak, it wasn't cooked fully to her liking, so she stabbed it with her fork and held it over the dinner candle, twirling it so it could cook longer. Opinion. This story is kinda wholesome. Story 9. This isn't as funny or jaw-dropping as some of the others on here, but I love this story because it's such a good example of what kind of person my dad was. Growing up, my dad was pretty relaxed about most things. Didn't really matter what I did as long as I was honest and safe. The one thing that was the biggest no-no for me was tattoos and piercings. So like any rebellious young person, I waited until I left for college to get my nose pierced. I got away with it for a few weeks until eventually it came out through the grapevine. Cough. My sister. Cough. And my dad was angry. As mentioned before, he was a relaxed dad, so for him to get mad was a big deal. I remember sitting in my dorm room shaking when I got the call, dreading the next time I'd see him, as I knew he had to pick me up in a couple of weeks for an upcoming break. During the period between the phone call and him picking me up, he barely spoke to me. I knew it was going to be bad, so I braced myself for his attitude on the drive home. The day came for him to pick me up, and he walked right up to my apartment, and my roommates answered the door. They immediately called me from the other room, sounding a bit strange and confused. I walked over to see what the deal was, and lo and behold, there was my dad standing there with his face covered in fake piercings, in front of all 7 of my roommates. The looks on their faces were priceless when they saw my somewhat elderly gray-haired mountain of a dad rocking a lip ring, a septum ring, and 2 ear piercings. He then proceeded to load up the car and walk through campus with said facial jewels, being sure to say hello to every student he passed. He didn't say a word to me the entire time. The only thing he said once we got back to the car was, "You're 18 now, and I can't change your decisions, but I sure can embarrass you when you do something I do not like." He laughed, took the jewelry off, got in the car, and that was that. I have never face-palmed so hard. Basically, it was his "now you know how I feel" revenge. He is unfortunately getting up there in age and has started having some severe health issues, so he isn't as sharp as he used to be, but this will always be a great memory for me. Edit. My first gold. Thank you. I didn't think anyone would see this. Imagine my surprise. Made me tear up a little this morning getting all your comments. I am so glad you guys love and appreciate this story as much as I do. Love, my dad. Opinion. I think you've got an awesome dad. I like his "don't get mad, get even" approach. Story 10. My grandma grabbed my chest in the middle of the Denver airport and told me I was growing into such a nice young lady. 13-year-old me was horrified. She then told me that when you get old, they get soft and fall behind your brassiere, so I should always wear a long bra. She also announced at a huge family gathering, my cousin has become a woman, and who could forget? My father has a fungus. All of these things from a woman barely 5 feet tall with a strong Brooklyn Italian accent. I have a lot of wonderful, hilarious stories about my grandma. I miss her terribly. Opinion. With grandma, There are no secrets. Story 11. Story time. Okay, so my mom's driving us to the movies. It's me, my sister, and two friends, both of whom are upperclassmen at high school that I want to get in with because they're the cool guys. My mother runs a red light accidentally and like three cops descend upon us. They must have just come out of the dunking down the road. But that's impertinent to this tale. Instead of pulling to the side of the road, she jumps the curb and drives onto the grass. At this point, I'm already like, oh my god, why? But that's not the end of it. She decides she needs to apologize, so she steps out of the car, raising her hands up and shouting at them, I'm sorry. Of course, all the cops draw their long-distance hole punchers. At this point, the cops see four teenagers in the car screaming at the woman. Mom, no! They tell her to get back in the car, and she does so. I look back at the guys and they're just baffled at the entire situation. At this point I'm thinking, well, so much for that. But also, oh my god, my mother almost got unalived by scared cops. What the? They let her go with a warning, specifically citing that the kids in the car are the only reason we're letting you off so easy. Get them home safely. She did just that. And the movies never happened. Equal parts frightening and embarrassing. Thanks, Mom. Opinion. The whole time I was thinking, what was your mom thinking? Honestly, what was she doing? She's lucky she wasn't unalived. Didn't anyone ever teach her how to handle getting pulled over? Story 12. My youngest cousin was 15 when my sister got married. She put him on a table with his parents so they could keep an eye on his drinking, because there was table wine plus an open bar. But obviously, they didn't. I went to the bathroom before the speeches and found him lying face down outside the hall next to a large pool of red. We remind him about it at every family gathering. He got married a couple of years ago and my sister threatened to return the favor. Opinion. I've gotta say, if the worst thing a 15-year-old has done is get wasted at a wedding, they're actually doing pretty good. God knows the stuff I got up to at that age. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the bell button to receive notifications to my latest videos.